Okay, let's unpack this. You see them everywhere now, don't you? I mean, restaurant tables, lampposts, parking meters, sometimes even on your screen or, packages.
Those little square patterns,
Yep.
quick response codes,
Yeah.
QR codes.
They've become just this incredibly simple, almost second nature part of daily life.
Yeah,
Super convenient.
it's true. They promise speed, keys. Instead of fiddling with typing a long web address on your phone,
Yeah.
point, tap, and bam, you're there.
Pulling up menus, making payments, getting info.
Mm,
Yeah, it streamlines things.
definitely.
And I think because they're so tied into like legitimate businesses, places we use every day, there's this feeling of trust that just builds up, right? Like,
Yeah.
oh, the coffee shop uses them, they must be fine.
That's a really key point.
Mm.
That widespread use and the sort of perceived safety that comes with it, it actually masks a pretty significant risk.
How so?
Fundamentally, when you just look at that square, that pattern of black and white, you have absolutely no visual clue where it's actually going to send you. It's totally opaque.
Right. The source material you shared had that example. Someone scans what they think is a menu, but it goes somewhere totally different.
Exactly. Now, in that case, okay, maybe it was harmless, a mistake,
Yeah.
but that unexpected redirect, it could have very easily been malicious. It's that hidden destination.
Yeah.
That's what makes these codes a potential tool for attackers.
Okay.
And that's really the core problem we're digging into today. It's a specific twist on, well, a familiar cyber threat, focusing right on those QR codes.
And this specific threat, we're calling it quishing, is that right?
Quishing, yep.
Yeah.
QR code phishing, basically using the QR code as the lure, the bait, to get you somewhere dangerous online.
Gotcha. So our mission in this deep dive, really tailored for you listening based on these sources, is to kind of pull back the curtain on how these codes can be misused.
And more importantly, equip you with what you need to know to protect yourself.
Exactly. We're going to walk through what the sources say are the most critical things to understand. So let's get down to it. Beyond just being a little square picture, what fundamentally is a QR code?
Well, at its heart, it's just another type of barcode. The standard ones on groceries, those are one-dimensional lines.
Right.
QR codes are two-dimensional, squares in a grid. And that lets them store a lot more information.
Like what kind of info?
Could be blocks of text, contact details,
Yeah.
or, and this is the key for us here, website addresses, URLs.
And the convenience is obvious. Scanning's way faster than typing.
Oh, absolutely. But you're making a trade-off there. Speed and simplicity for a loss of transparency.
Meaning?
When you type a web address, you see every letter, every symbol.
Yeah.
You know exactly where you intend to go. Scan a QR code. You don't see that destination URL until your phone shows it to you.
Which often happens like just before it opens the link, or even as it's opening.
Right.
And that's the weak spot attackers are jumping on, that hidden destination.
That's precisely it. They use that lack of transparency to hide the malicious link, obfuscate it. To you, it's just squares. To your phone, it's an instruction. Go to this web address.
And that address could be anywhere the attacker chooses.
Anywhere. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. So walk us through it. Someone scans a bad QR code. What actually happens? What are the potential consequences here based on the sources?
Well, several nasty things are possible. One outcome: the code sends your browser straight to a website designed to exploit a weakness in your phone system or your browser.
To install malware.
Yep. Sometimes just visiting the site is enough. A drive-by download, you don't even have to click anything else.
Malware. What does that actually do to someone's phone or computer? What's the impact?
Malware is just short for malicious software. Its job is usually to harm you or steal from you. So we're talking about software designed to grab sensitive data.
Like passwords, credit cards.
Exactly. Passwords, logins for your bank, email, social media, credit card numbers, bank details, anything valuable it can sniff out on your device.
Okay, so installing bad software is one risk. What else? Could it send you to, like, a fake website to trick you?
Absolutely. That's maybe the most common phishing tactic.
Yeah.
Right. And quishing is just the delivery method.
So the QR code takes you to a page that looks real.
Looks identical. Could be your bank's login page, your email sign-in, whatever.
Yeah.
You think, oh, I need to log in, you type your username and password.
And you've just handed them over to the attacker.
Bingo. Straight to them.
Or I guess a fake shopping or payment page, too, to get card numbers.
Precisely. The hidden URL points to a site built just to siphon off those payment details. The core danger is always that hidden, unknown destination. It's designed for theft, data theft, or compromising your device.
Wow. It's kind of alarming how something so convenient has this hidden dark side.
It is.
Maybe let's zoom out a bit. Quishing. It fits into a bigger picture, doesn't it? It's just one type of phishing attack.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
Phishing is the umbrella term, right?
Uh-huh.
Attacks using deception to trick people into giving up info or doing something harmful.
And attackers just keep changing how they deliver the trick.
Constantly. They adapt to whatever channels people are using. Email, texts, calls, and now QR codes, because they're so common.
The source mentions some other types, things we've probably all seen.
Right. The most basic is, bulk phishing. Mass emails pretending to be from Apple or PayPal or whoever, asking you to click a link.
Yeah, the classic, your account is locked, click here, email.
That's the one. Then you've got spear phishing. That's more targeted.
How so?
Attackers use info about you or your company to make the message seem way more legit. Might use your name, mention a project, makes it harder to spot.
Okay, more personal.
Much more. And then taking that even further is whaling. That goes after the big fish, CEOs, executives, people with high-level access or control over money.
And it's definitely not just email anymore.
Oh, no. Smishing. That's phishing, using SMS text messages. You get those urgent texts about package deliveries or bank alerts, often smishing.
I think I've seen those. And vishing.
Voice phishing. Using phone calls, sometimes automated voice messages, to pretend to be someone trustworthy, the bank, the tax office, to manipulate you.
So quishing is just adding QR codes to that list of tools.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It leverages the trust, the convenience of QR codes to get you to the malicious site. That's where the actual attack happens, stealing logins, installing malware, whatever their goal is.
Okay, the problem's clear. QR codes hide where they go. Attackers use this to send you to bad places. Now, the crucial bit, how do we fight back? How do we protect ourselves?
Right.
The source material gives practical steps, but interestingly, it starts by kind of debunking some advice that sounds good on the surface.
Yeah, that's a really important point they make. Advice like, just don't scan QR codes from strangers. Sounds sensible, right?
Yeah, seems logical.
But it's pretty impractical in the real world.
Why isn't that enough?
Because, think about it, most QR codes you run into are effectively from sources you can't easily verify. That code on the restaurant menu. Who put it there? Where does it really link?
True. Or the one on a parking meter, or a flyer on a bulletin board.
Exactly. Or something in your mailbox.
Yeah.
You don't have a personal connection to verify. Those sources are legit on the spot.
That's a really fair point. And even if it looks like it's from someone you do know, like a friend sends you a QR code image.
Well, their account might be hacked. Or maybe they scanned it somewhere else and just passed along, not knowing it's bad. So just relying on whether you know the source, it's not a foolproof defense. Not at all.
Okay, so if avoid strangers' codes isn't the full answer, what are the effective strategies? What should we be doing according to the source?
The first, and maybe the most fundamental step, is just to think before you scan. I'll pause for a second.
Okay.
Ask yourself, do I really need to scan this right now? Is there maybe a safer way, a more direct way to get where I want to go?
Wait, if it's a menu at a restaurant I know, maybe I just type their website address into my browser instead of scanning the code on the table?
Precisely. If you can get there directly or use a bookmark you trust, do that instead. Don't just scan because the code is there. Scan because you've made a conscious choice and decided it's the necessary way.
Okay, deliberate scanning. Makes sense. What's next? Something about stopping it opening automatically?
Yes. Disable automatic execution. Check your phone's camera settings or the settings in whatever QR scanner app you use. Many are set by default to just automatically open the web page the second the scan is successful.
You want to turn that off.
Definitely turn it off.
And the reason for disabling that, it leads right into the next tip, I bet.
Yeah, exactly. Turning off auto open gives you the chance to look before you leap. Or more specifically, preview the URL. Most scanners and modern phone cameras, once they read the code, will show you the destination web address before they actually try to open the page. This is your critical moment. Inspect that link.
So instead of scan wish danger, it's stand pause check.
Yes. That pause is crucial. The source really emphasizes check that previewed link carefully.
What are we looking for in that preview? What are the red flags?
Look for anything that seems off, even slightly. Typos are common, like a May 0 with a 0 instead of an O. Or maybe a totally unexpected domain name.
Like scanning a code for, say, city parking, and the link ends in .u or .biz or something weird.
Huge red flag. Or extra words crammed in trying to look official, but they're fake. Compared to what you expect the real address to be. If it looks dodgy, don't go there.
So if I expect, I don't know, officialbank.com and I see officialbank login-secure.xyz, alarm bells.
Absolutely. Classic phishing trick. They hope you'll just glance, see the familiar word at the start, and click.
Okay. Think, disable auto open, preview, and check the URL. Got it. What about physically looking at the code itself?
Right, this next one is less techy, more about just observation. Look for tampering. This is a sneaky, low-tech trick attackers use.
Tampering, how?
Someone prints their malicious QR code onto a sticker
Huh?
and then carefully places it right over the top of a legitimate QR code.
Oh, wow. Like on a menu or a poster?
Exactly. On a parking machine, a flyer,
Mm.
anywhere there's a real code, they might try to cover it with a fake one.
That's really sneaky. So the original code underneath is fine, but you end up scanning the bad sticker on top.
It is sneaky. If you're not looking closely, you'd never know. So make it a habit. Quickly glance at the physical code. Does it look like a sticker? Are the edges peeling? Does it look like it's stuck on something?
That's a great practical tip. What about using specific security tools? Do they help?
Yes, using a trusted scanner app can add a layer of defense. Some third-party scanner apps have built-in security.
How does that work?
They check the URL the code points to against big lists of known malicious websites, known phishing sites. If there's a match, they'll warn you or block access.
Okay, like a little security guard for your scans.
Kind of, yeah. And while we said avoiding all codes from strangers isn't practical, you can still use common sense. Avoid sketchy sources when possible. Well, a QR code taped to a lamppost, or on a crumpled flyer you find on the ground, or maybe a sticker in a public bathroom. Those are inherently higher risk than one on, say, a printed menu inside a restaurant you trust.
Right. Use some judgment about where you're seeing the code.
Exactly. Unsolicited mail, random handouts.
Yeah.
Probably best to avoid scanning those unless you absolutely have to, and you can verify them really carefully using the other steps.
That's just basic risk assessment, really.
It is. And underpinning all of this, just good cyber hygiene, keep your systems patched and software updated, always.
How does updating my phone's OS help if I scan a bad QR code?
Well, if you do slip up and scan a malicious code, and it tries to install malware by exploiting a known weakness, having your system and apps fully updated means those known security holes have likely been fixed, patched. Software updates are constantly fixing flaws attackers look for. It's a vital safety net if other defenses fail.
So updates close the doors that malware might try to get through.
Precisely. Think of it like reinforcing the locks on your house. And another huge one, use credential protection. Specifically, multi-factor authentication, MFA and passkeys.
Okay, how do MFA or passkeys help if, say, a Quishing attack tricks me? I scan a code, land on a fake login page, and type my password.
This is where they are incredibly valuable. A major goal of Quishing, the source notes, is stealing logins. Even if an attacker fools you into giving up your password on their fake site,
Yeah.
if your real account is protected with MFA, the attacker still needs that second step to get in, like the code sent to your phone or an app approval.
So the stolen password alone isn't enough. It's useless without that second factor.
Correct. They can't log in.
Huh?
Passkeys are even better, really, because they get rid of the phishable password altogether. Using MFA and passkeys wherever you can, it massively reduces the damage if a Quishing attack does trick you into giving up credentials.
That feels like a really critical layer of defense.
It absolutely is. And related to device security, consider using a trusted mobile security app. Reputable security apps for your phone can scan for existing malware and help block infections from bad sites you might accidentally visit.
Another safety net right on the phone itself.
Yes. And maybe tying all these strategies together is this last point. Think twice before entering sensitive information. Seriously, if you got to a web page by scanning a QR code, be extra cautious about typing in logins, credit card numbers, personal details.
Unless you're absolutely sure it's legit.
Absolutely sure. And you've verified its security. Look for the padlock, the HTTPS, in the address bar. Always question, do I really need to enter this info here? On this page I reached via this code, what's the risk versus the benefit?
That's such a vital final check. Don't just trust the page because you landed there. Question it.
Exactly. Because at the end of the day, Quishing, like all phishing, it's fundamentally social engineering.
Social engineering. Explain that.
It means they're exploiting human psychology. Our habits, our trust, our tendency towards convenience. They count on us scanning QR codes without thinking too hard because it's easy. They exploit the trust we've built up because legitimate places use them.
So understanding that it's a trick, basically.
Understanding it's about deception and manipulating trust helps you switch from blind trust to, healthy skepticism and verification.
Okay, so let's recap the main defenses the source highlights. First, pause. Think before you scan. Is there a safer way? Then, disable that automatic opening feature, so you have to preview the link.
Right.
Then diligently check that URL preview, look for typos, weird domains, anything suspicious.
Crucial.
Also, physically look at the code itself. Could it be a sticker stuck on top of another code? Look for tampering.
To point.
Consider using a trusted scanner app with security checks. Avoid codes from obviously sketchy sources if you can.
Yep.
Keep your phone and apps updated. Patch those vulnerabilities. Layer on strong credential protection like MFA or passkeys.
Absolutely essential.
Maybe use a mobile security app. And finally, always, always think twice before entering sensitive info on any site you reached via a QR code. Question it.
That's a solid summary. Taking those steps really does strengthen your defense against these Quishing attacks significantly.
And if you do all of that, maybe, just maybe, you'll squish the Quishers.
Yeah, that's the hope, yeah.
Terrible, I know, sorry. But it does underline that being proactive makes a difference. This whole deep dive into Quishing. It really shows how fast new tech we like for convenience can be twisted, doesn't it?
It really does. And how attackers are always probing, looking for that next easy way in, exploiting our habits.
Makes you wonder about other everyday tech we just accept. Things that feel totally normal, totally safe now, but might have risks we're not seeing yet.
That's a really interesting thought, because convenience often involves hiding complexity, hiding steps, and maybe hiding risks too.
Exactly. As technology keeps pushing for faster, easier ways to do everything, how do we strike that balance? Between speed and convenience on one hand, and the need for caution for checking what's really going on under the hood on the other.
That's the ongoing challenge, isn't it? Finding that balance in how we interact with all sorts of tech, not just QR codes. Definitely worth thinking about.
What other seemingly harmless tech might have hidden depths? Food for thought.